Hey, Pooja, thanks for taking time to chat with us. We're really excited for the nomination of Tia. Can you tell us a little bit more about your background?
Absolutely. I'm super excited to talk more about Tia and tell more folks about some of the amazing work that she's been doing. Right now, I manage a team of about 10 engineers. So, about a year ago, I started as an engineering manager at Slack, where I met Tia. And I would say maybe from week 2 or 3, I got introduced to Tia.
What's the work relationship you had with Tia?
Absolutely. Tia is my peer. And to give you a little background about how Slack as an organization is structured, within Slack, all the teams are organized into something called as pillars. Pillars are essentially equivalent to a department. So I'm part of the enterprise pillar, and Tia is part of the expansion monetization pillar. So I got introduced to Tia in one of the meetings. So Tia essentially runs the EM monthly sync meeting. So this was a meeting which was set up by Tia as a forum where all the engineering managers, directors across Slack could come together, talk about common problems, talk about solutions that work for them. In general, a really strong network of sharing. I think EMs fight a lot of silent struggles or silent battles, and
Right.
having a community where you can talk about those challenges and seek feedback from your peers overall has been really powerful. So Tia provided that environment where, someone like me who's extremely new to Slack felt comfortable asking some hot topic questions or challenging questions, to say the least.
So that meeting is only for all the EMs in the company or also applies to more senior engineering leaders as well?
Yeah, so I think it started off with primarily EMs, and some engineering leaders used to join the meeting as well, based on either the agenda items. Some of the things that we've discussed at that meeting are, things such as common recruiting practices, especially as Slack as an organization started to grow. There was a huge need for bringing some best practices, especially around interview process. It was also a forum where teams could talk about what are some day-to-day challenges that folks were running into. We introduced OKR, great. How do we actually practice it? So it was a great platform to build on that. That was kind of like the initial introduction. A few months into Slack, I started to be more involved with recruiting overall. Tia also runs the engineering recruiting process for interns, and I happened to go with her to Grace Hopper conference where Tia was speaking, and I got to see her in action. It was great to see her in the booth talking to candidates, and yeah, overall it was a great experience. Just getting to know her and spending more time with her.
It looks like the forum to connect all the engineering leaders in company, talk about common challenges and best practices. This is a grassroots effort started by Tia, but later on turned into a very important forum for engineering leaders on different levels to come together to share best practices and discuss common challenges that has a broad impact.
Yeah, absolutely. I think overall, you know, things which affected us on a day-to-day basis, things which affected us on a long-term basis, folks felt a lot more like psychological safety overall to bring up those discussions. For example, I used to seek out to my peers asking about, hey, I'm hiring for my team. However, I'm running into these challenges. Has anyone else run into these challenges? And, my peers basically came forward, and, Tia especially really facilitated those discussions. And she would always help kind of gather those agenda items in advance to make sure that everyone came to the meeting either prepared or at least with the common set of questions which would benefit the overall kind of EM community at Slack.
So what motivates you to nominate Tia?
I think overall, Tia is one of those individuals who is extremely inspiring because she's one of those folks who feels comfortable pushing herself beyond her comfort zone and On the other hand, she's also very open about some of the challenges that she's going through. I think showing that amount of vulnerability is never easy. And
Yeah.
I think Tia is definitely one of those individuals who feels comfortable doing that. Tia provided that community where, I could reach out to her. She gave me some tips on things that I should give a try to help increase engagement within the team, help align the team on what to look for. And overall, I think she helped me feel more comfortable in being part of that community and not just, wait on the sidelines, if I must say. We started a round robin rotation where different EMs would run those meetings. And that's when I think I had a lot more respect for her. One of the meetings I volunteered to run, and I was like, wow, this is actually a pretty challenging effort. In a meeting, you'll have at least 30 to 40 engineering managers, and facilitating those discussions, making sure that we have meaningful discussions. So it's an awesome opportunity, and Tia provided that. And I think with hiring as well, Slack overall, we have a huge commitment towards diversity, especially we believe in leveling the playing field and providing opportunities for especially folks who might be underrepresented in tech. And Tia helped provide that environment where we kept that as a principle and guiding force to start with.
We mentioned important thing about TA is he makes you feel comfortable and you're sort of trusting her and opening up, and psychological safety is created. Can you share a little bit more on that?
I think with respect to psychological safety, two important things that come to mind is, I, for example, feel safe in an environment where I feel comfortable sharing my challenges. When you touch on it at a very high level, you are missing out on some of the core kind of problems or challenges that you might be dealing with. So I personally feel better and safe in an environment where, when I present my challenges, folks are listening and providing that support which I need. She modeled that behavior where she felt comfortable being vulnerable about her challenges, and also in a very humble fashion. She was always upfront about what she was going through, what she had to maybe sacrifice, or what are some of the things that she just had to let go. So I think that helped kind of enhance that environment overall, especially for someone like me who was fairly new as an engineering manager. And I think with Tia, the conversations always felt organic. It never felt like, oh, we're just touching high level, touch points kind of thing. Just felt like I was talking to a peer whom I could just reach out and seek feedback. However, one thing I will highlight is Tia is also an incident commander. So within Slack, we have a pretty robust way of handling incidents. Incident commanders essentially help drive the incidents. They help also drive decision making. So as an incident commander, you basically are responsible for bringing together a team which can solve the problem and help us call all clear on incidents. So Tia, in fact, inspired me to become an incident commander myself, because in Slack, whenever incidents around either team-specific things used to happen, Tia would step in and play the role of incident commander. And I think modeling that behavior definitely helped me understand these are like great areas of growth for myself, and also provide me an opportunity to learn about tech stack, which I might not be working on a daily basis. One of the other things that really caught my attention, especially about Tia, is the level of engagement and effort that she put in to increase her reach, not just within Slack, but outside Slack. Tia has spoken at several events. In fact, she was one of the speakers for SFELC. I believe she was part of a panel. Likewise with Grace Hopper, which I attended, she was part of a panel which presented about opportunities for people of color, and she's closely associated with Slash Dev Slash Color. She's one of the facilitators for that community, and most recently, she started a nonprofit called Color Code, which helps bring representation in executive roles.
Do you have some specific examples where Tia was able to inspire a transition or a change in you or other people in that engineering leader community within Slack?
So I think one aspect that comes to mind, maybe two aspects. One is around how do we help improve engagement within the team, and the second is around recruitment. Tia put together this survey which you could share with the team and just assessing engagement and how the team is feeling overall. Slack overall also does have surveys which we send on, I believe, every 6 months or something like that. But TIA survey is more lightweight and enables engineering managers to gauge how teams are doing, also gather feedback on engagement within the team. That proved to be an extremely useful tool for engineering managers where we could share with our team on a regular basis and just do a pulse check on how the team is doing. Because I feel like sometimes as EM, you're so caught up in day-to-day activities that it's kind of nice to pause and check with your team. Hey, how are you doing? Are you feeling engaged? Do you feel like you have clarity on how the roadmap is going? Do you have clarity on the vision? Is there anything else that I could be doing more of to make you feel more supported? And I think, when folks get to do that in a more offline basis, there's more possibility that they will be more open, and providing that conversation path has proven to be extremely useful. And the second thing I mentioned was around hiring, especially when I joined TIA for the Grace Hopper conference. I was, to be honest, extremely overwhelmed by the number of attendees. She basically helped us ground ourselves, build that energy to talk with so many candidates, and provided us a framework of how we frame those conversations, what to look for in a candidate, how to actively remove bias in hiring. Because it's awesome that you have so many candidates who are interested in Slack, but on the other hand, we only have so few positions. So making sure that we are looking at it in a more holistic way, asking the right questions, taking a step back, and essentially removing that bias that we might have had.
What do you think motivates Tia to do all of this?
It's a great question. I've asked Tia that and she probably just laughed. But I think I also asked Tia, how do you have the energy to do all of this? I found myself where, just surviving a day sometimes feels like a behemoth effort. And let alone do your job, do speaking engagements, and, giving back to the community. I honestly don't know how Tia does it. I think from a motivation standpoint, she's one of those people where it's not just about getting the work done, but also about giving back to the community and kind of paying it forward.
What is the leadership qualities that you see in Tia that you wish other engineering leaders can have?
It's not just about just her succeeding in her role, but also she's one of those individuals who likes to see other peers and other kind of team members grow in their career and reach new heights. I think Tia definitely models that behavior really well. And I think that's another reason why, she's motivating and inspiring, because it's not just about her success, it's about success as a collective team, which is why I think Tia definitely stands out. And I think it's a great behavior to see in leaders above and across you. I think the common pattern that you see is both professionally and personally. She's one of those individuals who wants to give back to the community, wants to help more people be successful in their roles.
You mentioned there's a few things that Tia inspired you to do. For example, taking on the role of incident manager. Like, Are there another example?
I think one of the other examples that come to mind is being an advocate for your team, because as engineering managers you have the opportunity of joining discussions with across the organization. You also find yourself sometimes in a room filled with executives. You also find yourself in a room filled with people from different cross functions such as customer success, sales, marketing. And I think it's important that as EMs we also advocate for our teams and advocate for that vision. And that's something I've seen Tia do really a great job at. I think, especially whenever there's any releases that go out there, it was great to see her advocate for her team, talk about some of the challenges that they overcame, and share some of those learnings with the broader community. So I think advocacy is definitely something where I found myself that I was doing less of, and it inspired me to pretty much step up and talk to the broader community about the engineers who are doing really great job, the team that was doing a great job in driving the success of projects.
What do other people see about Tia at Slack?
What I've summarized so far, those are areas where you know folks at Slack have also kind of highlighted. If I remember correctly, this was again well before my time, probably 6 months before I joined. Tia got the award of village mayor within Slack. Within Slack, they did this thing where I think we had about 3 or 4 awards which they gave out to engineering managers, and Tia was the awardee for village mayor. So that definitely again speaks a lot about what her peers think about her.
It's really inspiring to hear all those things that she did and also have a way to just purely influencing people through being a role model. It's great for whoever like working with her.
Yeah, absolutely. And I definitely want to thank SFELC for providing a platform where we can talk about engineering leaders who lead by example and modeled a lot of behavior which we either hear about or talk about or read about. So really excited by this opportunity to nominate Tia and talking more about her contributions with kind of like the broader community.
Is there anything you want to say to Tia if she's watching this video?
I think the only thing that comes to mind is, Tia, thank you for being you.